Hello YouTube. Today we are going to examine some World War II aircraft in an exotic location. We will look at the software involved, undertake flights in vintage aircraft, and consider the best type of air traffic program. This is the PC setup, and we will be using software from Aerosoft, Just Flight, Flight 1, Real Air, Aerosoft, and Plane Design. The critical software package that generates all the air movements is the AI Flight Planner by Don Grovestein, available as freeware from Stuff for FSX. We'll start in P3D at the island of Marley in the Maldives. I chose this location because it almost looks like a 1940s vintage airfield, and it has a main runway and a seaplane base in close proximity. I'm using helicopters as spotters in order to get a good view of the air traffic. Helicopters did exist in World War II, but not in significant numbers. This scenery is not optimized for P3D, so you can see an issue with the terrain elevation in the grassy areas. The aircraft, you can see, have been set up as local traffic for Marley. They are all scheduled to do circuits every 2 hours. They are not AI models. They are all fully flyable, and their pixel density is quite high. They look good, but on a slow PC you will be looking at a slideshow. You can see a variety of aircraft, and their traffic files in the add-on scenery folder look like this. We'll now have a look at the Seaplane base. Aerosoft Marley comes with a fleet of de Havilland Twin Otter floatplanes as AI traffic, and as I decided to keep them in place to add life to the Seaplane base. The Otter first flew in 1965. We'll now position by the slipway and jump into a vintage seaplane. Catalina is a true amphibian, at home on land or in the sea. This Aerosoft model, though dated, is quite outstanding. The Catalina first flew in 1935, and over 3,000 aircraft were built, the most numerous of any flying boat. Nearly 80 years later, it was still being used as a water bomber, and some examples still exist in warbird collections. Coming up is the RAF Duxford Miss Pickup, and this still flies at air shows. In the Catalina, engine management is crucial. Cylinder head temperature must be kept below 260 degrees centigrade, and oil temperature must be kept below 100 degrees centigrade. When landing, the approach speed is 90 knots and there are no wing flaps. Threshold speed is 80 knots, and she will settle at about 73 knots. Quite interesting to land on water. And there are a number of amphibians available for FSX. Turning can be a problem. So here I'm trying to turn left. I'm putting power on the right-hand engine to get us around. If you would like a more in-depth review of the Catalina, I recommend this video by Mark Hurst. We will now have a look at the same scenery but in FSX, using the AlphaSim S55 Whirlwind as our spotter. Notice that the terrain elevations of the grass are now okay. The video has a slight stutter because of the volume and quality of the traffic and the fact that FSX does not have the performance optimization of P3D. However, it is not a marked difference, and the general performance of FSX is quite good. I will now turn on the heli traffic add-on, and you will start to see a number of helicopters on the airfield. In the distance you can see a CH-53 Sea Stallion, and in front of the Whirlwind you can see a CH-46 Sea Knight lifting off. We will now go for a formation flight in the Just Flight Mosquito Mark 6. Two other Mosquitoes that you can see in the formation are from classic British flight sim, that particular website. They have much less detail than the Just Flight Mosquito, and therefore have less adverse impact on the frame rate. The Mosquito is a two-man fighter bomber, built almost entirely of wood. It entered RAF service in 1941 and was so effective that nearly 8,000 airframes were built. It excelled in high and low level operations and is perhaps best known for its precision low level bombing of the Amiens prison and the Gestapo headquarters. In addition to bombs and rockets, the Mosquito could be armed with 4 machine guns, .303 caliber, and 4 20mm cannon. The Mark 18 version, known as the Tetsi, was fitted with a 57mm anti-tank cannon for destroying German U-boats. I'll now leave the formation and attempt a landing. The Mosquito remained in service until the mid-1950s, when it was replaced by the English electric Canberra bomber. Some Mosquitoes were converted into target tugs and continued in service until 1963. Their final duty was to appear in the 1964 movie 633 Squadron. So the conclusions. And the credits. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks very much for watching.